right.
First of all, it's a Friday night, Felix. Where would a young person be right now?
I had a couple of suggestions that we should start broadcasting at 10 on Friday nights.
I think we should be picked up in the bar. I think when the young people go out to bars, they should have Spreaker radio, and they should be able to listen to us like they listen to Howard Stern and Imus in the morning.
Oh, sure. Well, Howard Stern is getting... Oh, actually, Howard Stern and... Who's the guy that was there before him? What's his name? Guy with the long hair also?
Don't know.
Imus?
I said Imus.
I know, but I couldn't remember. No,
I just said it.
I know.
What are you having, a senior moment?
I'm like Imus. I'm 99 years old. And he's still broadcasting.
Well, we could really make this show very racy. I mean, I can take my top off and go topless in front of you the way Howard Stern has women take their top off in front of him.
Yeah. Won't excite me, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It doesn't excite me anyway.
Well, I don't know.
I've been seeing around a lot of, Robin Quivers, Howard Stern's sidekick, has been around TV a lot because she wrote a book. I don't recall the name of it. But she was also very sick for a while.
Who, Robin Quivers? Yeah.
She's back, and she's all over the place promoting her book. It's nice to see her back and looking pretty healthy.
I'm promoting my book. When I write one, you'll know. But it's a book as yet to be written. That's what it is. It's like our radio show. It's a book about nothing. In fact, I might just give it a title and have empty pages, and you can fill in whatever you want in between so that each one is very individual.
They call that a loose leaf book.
It's like when you go to an affair and a wedding or something, and they ask you to write something memorable, okay? Folks, we're... grasping at straws here, folks.
But I want to tell you something. You asked me to talk what people were doing for Halloween yesterday. Last night, my wife went trick-or-treating with my grandson, and she left the house. And after work, I joined my son, and we had dinner. And we realized that for last night, Thursday night, the restaurant was really very full.
I wonder why.
Finally figured it out. It's all those Scrooges out there who don't want to don't want to be opening the doors and giving the kids any candy or whatever. So they're out. Everybody's having their dinner and lingering around, waiting till 8:30, 9 o'clock when all the kids stop trick or treating.
Well,
then they go home.
I have to tell you, my wife and I, every year we go out and we buy treats. Last year, obviously, Hurricane Sandy, we had absolutely no one, and that was understandable. But usually what happens is, look, our children are grown, so we don't decorate the house the way we used to. But I think more and more people go to homes of people that they know. They are reluctant to knock on strangers' doors. My wife and I bought a 30-pack of potato chips, cheese doodles, the type that you send for lunch with kids, And we're going to return it because no one came. I think we had all of 2 people come to the door, and that was it.
Well, they heard you had potato chips, not candy, so they didn't bother.
Oh, I like potato chips,
I know.
My daughter in Ohio said that some kids knocked on the door very lightly. She didn't hear them, but they went to her neighbor. So she came out and opened the door and, very politely said something. And one of these little brats looked at her and said, "Well, we knocked on your door, but you refused to open, so we figured you didn't care." Now, that was after my daughter had already given her candy. Boy, I would have reached into that bag and taken it back and given her a swift boot in the behind,
Well, kids...
where does it say that you have to get a treat?
when the kids are expecting it, it's not good. It should be a treat, and they should be thankful they're getting it. A lot of countries kids don't get treats.
You know something. In our country alone, with the unemployment the way it is, it's very difficult to, have some kids put on a happy face underneath the mask, and go out there and trick or treat, even though it's just one way that they could lose themselves for a while, for a few hours. It's very difficult, for the same reason that in a circus, usually the clown is always the saddest person in the circus because he could mask his feelings by wearing a phony smile. It's very difficult. Hard times now, in the past, hard times ahead. Obviously, you know where this is going and how I feel about certain things. Being a progressive, it galls me to listen to the Tea Party people and certain people in the Republican Party. I won't say all of them. And on top of listening to people who are elected to office, you get people like Ted Cruz's father, who accuses our president of all kinds of things, none of which is true. And who the heck is he?
Well, everybody's allowed to their opinions, I guess.
Well, that's it. We live in a government where everyone has freedom of speech. Although sometimes I wish I put a muzzle on some of these people because it's like they're speaking out of their behinds and not out of their mouths, and they're not using their hearts and their minds to formulate ideas.
Well, and they may feel the same way about you, Mark.
Well, I'm just very passionate about things I believe in.
And so are they, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's not the same thing. You have to realize people are passionate about a lot of things that we don't understand. And if we, and that we disagree with. But that doesn't make them any, if they're not hurting you.
Hey, listen, when they still believe after 5 years in office that our president should go back to Kenya or Indonesia, that he's not an American, okay? I mean, give me a break.
Oh, I don't really think anybody that's in office believes that, from the Tea Party or any other party. They may wish he would go to Kenya, but that doesn't mean they believe he is from Kenya. There's a difference. Well, it's better than wishing him to go to hell, I guess. Or maybe it is the same. I don't know.
I don't either.
A lot of people say, heaven and the hell is right here on earth.
Well, forget about heaven and earth and hell and all that stuff, folks. Why don't you give us a call? Come on.
What's the number, Mark?
It's 516-665-1860. Let your fingers do the walking, ladies and gentlemen.
Or Skype us at Trucking to Heaven.
Or email us at felix@truckingtoheaven.com.
Or Mark, M-A-R-C, at truckingtoheaven.com. Or whatever any
Tanto and Kimosabi.
As long as you say truckingtoheaven.com, it will get to us. So we'd really love to hear from somebody. And we only have about 7 minutes before we're pushed off the air. It's luckily we have 45 minutes, but we can only broadcast for 45 minutes. But our time is somewhat flexible as when we broadcast. So even though we started late, we still get our full 45 minutes in. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending how you feel about the show. But if you're listening this far...
That's true. If you don't want to listen to us ramble on and on, pick up the phone. We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear some of our audience ramble.
That's right. We'll even take rambling from people who disagree with everything we say. That's what makes things interesting.
I'd love to hear from somebody from the Tea Party.
Provided you could be civil, okay?
Yeah, well, this is in the air. You have to be civil when you call. Oh, I'd love to hear somebody who's a grassroots supporter of our coffee party.
That's right. We got to give a shout out again. We've barely mentioned it today, only a few times, but time is dwindling down. You have the weekend, you have Monday, and then it's election day.
And don't forget, Monday we're going to be broadcasting live.
That's right.
At 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
And certainly, if you have someone that you would like to talk about, somebody who's doing things in your community, give them a shout out. We'd love to hear from you.
Or if you think that maybe Mark is befitting of an office, let us know what you think, what kind of office he should be in.
Actually, I think I'm the guy in the men's room that hands out the washcloth, and the soaps when you come in. Now, I like that job. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, I remember watching something. I always have something to say. On public broadcasting many, many years ago, it was a steam bath. And you had all these corporate people, and they didn't know they were dead, but they're all talking about the ills of society, talking about God like he doesn't exist. And all of a sudden, the janitor comes sweeping up, and guess who God is, ladies and gentlemen?
The janitor.
Exactly. Very famous play. Okay.
You never know. We just know we know he exists, and for those who believe he exists, that's fine. And for those that don't believe he exists, that's okay too. That's up to you. As long as you're good to your fellow neighbors, and you don't cause any harm to other people, you're okay with us.
Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody is entitled to his or her opinion.
The only difference is ours are the only ones that count.
That's very true. I'm glad you said it, because I didn't want to be accused of anything.
Well, listen, if somebody had an opinion about something we're saying, they would have called in. So if they're not calling in, that means they're agreeing with us. Pure logic.
That's right.
Either that or nobody's listening to us.
It might be because we went on 15 minutes late. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
And the sad thing is, I texted my sisters. Both of them, one went to bed because she works in the city and she's very tired. I texted my daughter, and she is planning to listen to the podcast tomorrow because she has to get up early and work tomorrow.
And there's one
nobody, I did ask for some feedback to find out if
we're even
you people, if we're even. I did it again. I did it again. I bumped up against our equipment here, folks. So if all of a sudden something happens and it sounds like we're coming out of outer space, blame me. But no one called to let us know how the broadcast is going. If it's
going.
Well, from our standpoint, it is. Yes, you're right.
But we're talking. But are we talking to anybody out there? We don't know because you didn't call in tonight.
If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Who knows?
Of course not.
Who knows? If nobody's there. I mean, all of these questions that have pondered generations and will continue to puzzle generations to come.
Yeah, I mean, a tree makes a sound no matter what happens when it falls, don't you?
I've heard the noise that a tree makes, but I've been there. I would have to say yes.
I would assume that would be yes. And anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we normally end the show with Roadkill Blues, but today we played it already, and for copyright reasons, we could not play any more of it. So we're going to wish you a good night. Now, thank you for listening, and hope you enjoy the show.
Have a
Don't
wonderful weekend.
And don't forget, listen to us Monday. It's a big